What's up everybody, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video and singles analysis. We have singles spotlight yet again at the end of the video, and this Pokemon's actually pretty interesting in singles as well as doubles. This Pokemon is weird in doubles. So it is the evolution to Dusknoir, and you will see Dusknoir more commonly played in Dusknoir in competitive play for a weird reason, and it's not really a weird reason, it's exactly what you would expect. It's Eviolite. We have access to the item Eviolite when we're Dusknoir. If you are an unevolved Pokemon and you can evolve, then you gain 1.5 times boost on your defense and special defense, and the jump in our special defense and defense from Dusknoir to Dusknoir is 130 in both to 135 in both, making this not as bulky as Eviolite Dusknoir. So of course you can use a different item on this Pokemon, which we have a good bit of items that we can use on this Pokemon. It does actually suffer less bulk, and it's weird also because it's a Trick Room setter or Trick Room Pokemon, Trick Room Sweeper potentially. Its speed actually goes up. So speed on Dusknoir is like 27, I think, or 25, and Dusknoir's is 45. So this is actually bad. It's actually worse that we're faster, which is like weird, but makes sense on a Trick Room Pokemon. But yeah, that's why you see Dusknoir more commonly played, because it gets more bulk, it gets more mileage out of that item than evolving. And holding that item, instead of using like a berry that have super effective damage, or a mental herb, or leftovers, is more worth it in my opinion. So that's why you see Dusknoir more commonly played. That's why you already saw Dusknoir featured on my channel, and it's, in my opinion and in most people's opinion, just better in doubles. But with that being said, you can still play this Pokemon in doubles. You can still play Dusknoir if you like it. If you want to do something differently, this Pokemon attacks. So the stat jump from Dusknoir to Dusknoir is actually huge for attack. It goes from 30 to 100. That's a huge difference. So this Pokemon can actually deal damage with physical attacks. You can definitely switch around this moveset. This is like more of the Trick Room support Pokemon moveset. You can definitely just like throw Choice Band on and attack a lot and do a lot of damage. That's what I have for the singles build, especially since it's spin blocks. But as far as the doubles build, let's get into it. So, Ghost. Mono Ghost typing. You have normal and fighting immunities, resistances to bug and poison, not great but resistances, and weaknesses to Ghost Dark, which is not great because they're both very good in the format. So it's kind of unfortunate typing here, but we are super bulky. We live the majority of attacks that don't need huge setups. I mean, obviously we die to like Darkest Lariat after Billy Drum Snorlax and things like Mudsdale Swagger combos. We die to big things, and that's okay. That's okay. That it happens. So into our stats, we have HP 45. It's a little bit more than Dusknoir or Dusknoir. I think it's 40. Attack 100, which is actually really solid. 135 defense and special defense, which is very good as well. And then 45 speed, which is not amazing. I mean, we get outsped by the majority of good Trick Room Pokemon, things like Gastrodon. We're on the same speed tier as Conkeldurr. Rhyperior outspeeds us. Torkoal Ferrothorn outspeeds us. Hatterene outspeeds us under Trick Room. We outspeed it initially, but when you're using Trick Room as your first attack, it has negative priority anyway, so it's gonna go after all of those Pokemon anyway. So it kind of just sucks on its speed tier, honestly. And we have speed tiers, and we'll show you, but it does kind of suck actually for the speed tiers. Into our actual build, we'll go ahead and jump into it. Ability Frisk. This, I've talked about this before. It's really good. It reveals both held items from opposing Pokemon. That's really solid. Actually very good. Being able to get some knowledge in a knowledge-based game, that's really good. You get to see, you know, if this Pokemon is supportive. You get to see if this Pokemon is offensive. It's a good ability in general. Item, we have Mental Herb here. This stops Taunt. It stops Encore, and it essentially any limiting moves that they use, something like Torment, although Torment doesn't really matter for us usually. But yeah, I mean, it stops Taunt and Encore, which are really good for Trick Room Pokemon, like really, really good solid outs for Trick Room, which is good. So things like Mandibuzz don't just immediately out us with just taunting us. So like that's very, very good. Leftovers Colbert or Kasib are my other picks for this. We could also, like I said briefly, Choice Band could be a good option if you're using this Pokemon to just sweep. You have a huge amount right up there of physical attacks right above me. My voice is still terrible. So good. It actually has like such a really good physical move pool. Shadow Sneak, Fire Punch, Brick Break, Rock Slide, Ice Punch, Bulldoze, Darkest Lariat. Huge amount of physical attacks that you can use, making the Choice Band pretty interesting. Leftovers, if you want it to live longer, like, you know, get that continual gain every now and again. Although there is a lot of threats in the meta game that are pretty annoying and, you know, kill us or take us down to the point where we still two-shotted with leftovers. Man, I'm rambling. Kasib and Colbert are good, but they don't cover the other, and with two very prevalent weaknesses, it's pretty unfortunate to use those berries, but it is what it is. They have to play the guessing game of which one you have, or if you have any, you know, so that's cool. As far as our moves go, we have Trick Room. Since I said this is more of a supportive build, it's like all into bulk, and you just want to set up Trick Room and then get off a couple like Will-O-Wisp or Ally Switch, mess with your opponent a little bit. Ally Switch is great on this Pokemon because of its immunities. You know, you have normal and fighting immunity, things like Conkeldurr, Snorlax in the way. You kind of just get to mess with them a lot, and they have to play the guessing game, and then if you don't do it and they thought you were gonna do it, they just waste a turn and you don't waste your turn. So it's really good. I like Ally Switch a lot, especially on Pokemon with immunities. Will-O-Wisp is really solid in a format so physically oppressive. We have defense already maxed, and Will-O-Wisp, we're just not gonna take much damage from physical offensive Pokemon if we can set up Will-O-Wisp and just be good about that. Shadow Punch for our last move. It is stab, it's physical. You could definitely switch this out with Shadow Sneak if you wanted to. It does a little less damage, but it has priority, so that's something to do. Shadow Punch is 60. It also has perfect accuracy, which is interesting. Shadow Sneak is 40, but it goes first, so it like has priority +1. So yeah, it's really your choice there. And then we also, I talked about this a little bit: Fire Punch, Brick Break, Rock Slide, Ice Punch, Bulldoze, Darkest Lariat. Fire Punch, if you use Torkoal, you get to Sun Boost it, which is good. Brick Break breaks screens, which is good. Rock Slide sets flinch, hits multi-targeting, which is good. Ice Punch is just spread. Bulldoze can proc your weakness policy on your Rhyperior. However, the speed tier that we're at after we set Trick Room, we're actually faster than Rhyperior, or slower than Rhyperior, so Rhyperior would go first, and then you Bulldoze and proc your own weakness policy after it attacked, so it only help for the next turn, so it's like mediocre. You could always pour a little bit of EVs or IVs into your Rhyperior, but then you're going to get outsped by opposing Rhyperior, which is pretty annoying, especially since like, and Gastrodon, but Gastrodon already outspeeds you if it's 0 speed. I'm rambling, maybe. Hopefully you found that informative. Darkest Lariat is our other option. This is really good. It's really good coverage. Dark move on Ghost is pretty solid, especially since a lot of Ghost Pokemon are going to be attacking you, and you get to just be like, yeah, Darkest Lariat, you're dead. It's good. Darkest Lariat also just ignores any stat boost that your opponent has, so things like Stamina, Mudsdale, or Curselax. Darkest Lariat still just goes for the exact same amount of damage you would do, which is good. And then we also have Haze here. That just eliminates all stat boosts, all stat changes. So things like the Bellydrum Snorlax, the Stamina Mudsdale, things that really threaten you, you can just bypass those with Haze, which is good. Onto our investments, we have HP at max. 252 invested into HP and defense. It's pretty basic, I know. However, we're also relaxed nature, giving us plus defense minus speed, just to be as slow as possible since we're a Trick Room setting. You don't have to use that. You can use something like Adamant. You could use something like Impish, just plus defense minus special attack. It's another option if you don't need that speed tier. However, like I said, we're Trick Rooming with this build, so we want to be as slow as possible. And that's just how it be. Onto our synergetic stuff, we have Butterfree here. You see Dusclops Butterfree as a very common lead for setting Trick Room. Being able to either Rage Powder or Sleep Powder to maximize your chance of setting up Trick Room. That's a really good thing to have, as well as Butterfree. Just having pretty solid support in general. Both of those moves potentially have Tailwind. Pollen Puff is good for healing. It's just a really good Pokemon to have on Trick Room in general, which is good. A really good support Pokemon for that. Then we have Rhyhorn, Rhyperior, and Torkoal, two just really powerful Trick Room sweepers. We want to just be able to maximize on the damage we can do during those few Trick Room turns we have, and those are some of the best options for that. We also have Indeedee Hatterene. If you want to use Dusknoir more so as a sweeper under Trick Room, using a common lead like that, potentially even using Dusclops Butterfree, Bronzong Butterfree, even like Bronzong and Indeedee, are all good options if you want to use Dusknoir like Choice Bandit, or even not Choice Bandit, and just have more attacks on it instead of like Will-O-Wisp Ally Switch. You can do that as well. Being a fast under Trick Room, pretty solid, really good attack sweeper with some immunities and not too many weaknesses is pretty sweet in general. Things that kind of destroy us: Mandibuzz has that taunt. It has Overcoat to ignore Rage Powder or Sleep Powder from Butterfree, so it gets right by that Butterfree Dusknoir lead, or the Butterfree Dusclops lead, or anything like that with Butterfree. It gets right through it, and then you get to taunt the Dusknoir. However, we do have Mental Herb, so you get through the first taunt and set up Trick Room, and then it's just knock off every single turn, living with leftovers, which is pretty annoying. Then we also have Duraludon, which is really annoying. People are using the Dragon Tail on it, which is very good to stop Trick Room. It has reverse priority as well as the Trick Room, but if it's on a faster Pokemon, it will still outspeed the Trick Room, which is really annoying because every turn that you go for Trick Room, they just send it away. It does have 90 accuracy, so keep that in mind when you're up against it. Dragapult is really scary. Physical Dragapult maxing can OHKO us, as you'll see in our damage calcs, so that's annoying. And same with Belly Drum, Darkest Lariat, Snorlax, that can also OHKO us and will OHKO us. So keep that in mind as well. Anyway, we're really far into this video already, so I'm just gonna jump right into the speed tiers here. So as far as speed tiers, they could be a lot better. They could be worse, but they're pretty bad, honestly. So we're at 45 instead of the Dusclops being at like 27. So we outspeed everything initially, but like I said, Trick Room has a reverse priority, so we will actually still go after all of these Pokemon, which sucks. So it's when you actually have a fast Pokemon that uses Trick Room, it actually kind of sucks for that, which is annoying, but it is what it is, you know. So anyway, here we are at 45. We're on the same speed tier as Conkeldurr, which you'll see a lot, you know. At Hindering, a lot of Conkeldurrs will have IVs/EVs invested to outspeed other things after, or with like Tailwind. You saw that on the first place. I think it had like 44 speed invested into it to outspeed Modest Duraludon under Trick Room. Pretty interesting, pretty niche little thing there, but it's pretty powerful, and you'll see different spreads for Conkeldurr a lot of the time. We also have Mudsdale outspeeding us, uninvested. You'll see uninvested Mudsdale more than Hindering Mudsdale, but we do have that down below as well at 36. Above that is Jellicent and Oranguru at Hindering Nature 58. This is the slowest they get, and this is the slowest they will be. This is what they'll most commonly be on, is tier 58, so you'll be able to outspeed them under Trick Room as well. Outspeeding us, or like under us at 40, we have Rhyperior and Gastrodon at 40 and 39, and then 36 we have Mudsdale, and 34 we have Bronzong. All of those Pokemon will outspeed us after Trick Room is set and before Trick Room is set if we activate Trick Room, which is pretty annoying. However, Bronzong is a Trick Room user himself, so you may have to fight that and do the resetting game, and then your partner Pokemon just has to pull all the weight for the team. But yeah, that's all I have for speed tiers, really. Onto our damage calcs. I'm saying a lot again. Anyway, here we have Dragapult, Life Orb, Dynamax, Max Phantasm. Into us is guaranteed OHKO. It does 104 to 125%. This would not OHKO if we were Dusclops with Eviolite. I have one down there to one Dusclops Eviolite damage calc to show how much more bulky it is. It's very significant, actually, so yeah, keep that in mind. However, Shadow Punch into the Dragapult is not gonna kill either. We only hit 52 to 63%, so the bulk that we're giving up for attack is not enough to even knock out a Dragapult. So I really do, I'm pretty firm on use Dusknoir over Dusknoir. However, if you do want to use it as the like potentially choice band trick, potentially just like sweeping with the option of Trick Room, then this Pokemon is pretty sweet and definitely worth like playing around with, using on a team. It's pretty unexpected. They won't know what to really do. Unfortunately though, it is pretty easy to deal with a lot of common Pokemon, things like the Snorlax, Mudsdale, Charizard, Dragapult, all the damage calcs we have here. Anyway, Belly Drum, Snorlax, Darkest Lariat, 134 to 157. This will kill Dusclops anyway, so don't let the Belly Drum happen. And if you do, then be careful, because it's going to kill you. Belly Drum Snorlax is huge and really, really hard to deal with. And if it G-maxes, it has huge health, and it's very, very hard to deal with right off the bat. Swagger, Dynamaxed, Mudsdale, Maxquake has a 50% chance to OHKO our Dusknoir. However, against the Dusclops, it is guaranteed 2-hit KO with Eviolite. It only hits 64 to 76 when it hits 91 to 108 on Dusknoir. So Dusclops will live that guaranteed every time. However, it will die two-shotted by the Swaggered Mudsdale. Swaggered Mudsdale is very common now. You'll see it a lot. It's really powerful. I've been using it a lot as well, and yeah, I'll probably feature that on my channel here in the upcoming days as a good battle video. I really like that team. It's insane. But then for our last one here, we have Charizard, Life Orb, Dynamaxed, hitting 146 to 173 in Sun with Solar Power. This is something that you shouldn't expect to live like with almost any Pokemon unless it resists. This is just so overwhelmingly powerful. Solar Power is really, really good, and you should have like some kind of check on your team. A lot of times you'll see like a Tyranitar being able to live it because of Sandstorm taking away the Sun. It gets that Sandstorm boost of its special defense, and it also has Rock Slide, which is very good. A lot of the time you'll see, I think it's Akaberry or like Chardyberry, to have the super effective damage of fire of rock types, but yeah, you should have some kind of check to Charizard on a lot of teams if you're afraid of it. If you're not afraid of it and you have like really fast guys with Tailwind and you can just kill it anyway, then like that's fine. You know, that counts as a check. That counts enough. But that Pokemon is just so overwhelming. Like, it's very, very powerful. Anyway, on to our single spotlight for today. I don't have any partner Pokemon for this. Since I don't know the meta well enough to give you any partner Pokemon for this. Just because I don't know singles well enough. However, I do, this is based off of past builds like Sun and Moon and stuff. It's a really good Rapid Spin blocker. So Spin Blocker is a ghost type Pokemon. Since Rapid Spin is normal, you can just switch this in and then not take damage from the Rapid Spin doesn't happen. So usually partners are things that are like weak to things that are weak to entry hazards, so that you can just negate the spin and then they still take damage throughout the game from your entry hazards. So a lot of partners are things that set entry hazards, things that don't, or things that are good against, are weak to Pokemon that are weak to rocks. I know I said that really weird. I hope you understand what I was saying. But anyway, yeah, we're using this as choice band. I touched on this briefly for doubles. However, it's more potent in singles. Being able to, first off, we have Frisk again. Choice band item is very, very strong here, giving us access to a 1.5 times boosted Shadow Sneak, Earthquake, or Fire Punch. We also have more moves there on the side: Ice Punch, Rock Slide, Darkest Lariat, Shadow Punch. All those moves are very, very powerful. That side. All those moves are very powerful, and being able to deal a lot of damage with Choice Band is pretty sweet. We also have access to Trick, which is good for Choice Band. You'd give it to something that's gonna like set up, like something like a Whimsicott in doubles. I know Whimsicott doesn't see much play in singles, but things like that, you know, things that are gonna set up, use Trick, give it Choice Band. It's a useless mon for the rest of the game, at least until you get a free switch. Like, they have to switch in, and then you can read that with like Earthquake or Fire Punch or something, and then deal a lot of damage. And for this build, we also have Bulky Band, being a super bulky boy, giving it 252 to HP. Is already defense and special defense is crazy high. We're giving it Adamant Nature with max attack, just making it do the most damage we can, especially since Choice Band gives it 1.5 times it really does deal a lot of damage, and it's a good spin blocker with a really high base defense and special defense, so it's pretty good. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Suggest more guys down below. I'm almost out of requests. I have 2 more in my queue, and we're gonna do those for the next 2 days, so add more, or else I'm gonna have to go off my own, and I have a lot that I'll do anyway. Anyway, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're still here at 20 minutes, you're awesome. You mean the world. Like it up, subscribe it up, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.